How about that, folks? How about that? Prop you up here. Okay. You comfy? How about that? Put you there for a second. Is this my better side? I think so. That's the view. How about that? Coffee. Good things just keep happening of the recent, which I'm very aware of, very appreciative. Truly, we say thanks, but do we really, mean it? It becomes a default. It's a bit like this word. Let me share this with you. The word mate. When that word has a certain tone behind it, it can be quite an abrasive word. It can have a lot of nastiness, that word. But when you follow it up with a love heart, that does help. That helps put a more pleasant tone to it. So I appreciate that. And so when I get savvy and I have an idea on how to do this, certain comments from my shorts, which I appreciate it. If you're okay with, because your name's on your comment, so shout out to Leonie and Graham, and I appreciate that because it's an interaction. It means people are watching the shorts, and these little things that I'm doing. Yeah, I'm wearing. These are the gloves I wear because it's cold. It's still cold, and so I got these for cleaning, right? Which is coming up, Leonie. It's coming up. Stay tuned. Appreciate the reminder, and you're absolutely right. That stove needs a scrub, mate. Thanks for the reminder. But I just wanted to throw that in there because if you didn't put the love heart in, I would have made the assumption that you're being very heavy with your critique. But the good thing is, too, I get to observe how I respond to that. And you're absolutely right. It does need a scrub. And I have been in the recognition of it for quite some time by putting it at the bottom of the priority list because, well, it's going to be quite a task, and obviously the more, and listen, because in these things that I say, there is a broader wisdom. Because the longer that I leave this go, the more I've got to do, right? And that spills over into so many things. So I'm Captain K.A.I.N, Iron Wake Maritime, life on a wooden boat. That's sitting pelican right there, right? And I'm sitting on whistling duck. Just sneak this around for you. Look at that. Okay. Absolutely marvellous. Just marvellous. Okay, put you back there. There's your coffee. Cheers. So we have some days ahead of us. We've got some work to do. And so between the two boats, it's a bit like this stove, right? It's just knuckling down and going, right, this truly needs doing. As much as I want to go for a surf, because the waves are on a certain point that I think is going to be similar to nationals. If anyone from Queensland knows that, it's potentially barreling, right? But Monday it's going to drop down a little bit. Might be more pleasant, but at the moment too, the water, ooh, it's 11 degrees, baby. So what would that feel like? It would feel like jumping in your esky. I'd say on round about day 3. You know, when you got the bits of ice still sitting in there. It'd be like jumping in an esky. Day 3 of camping. Cold. So, I mean, this is how cold it is out of the water, right? So between the two boats, there's things to do. And obviously, the longer I leave them, the more I've got to do. So, as you know, anyone who's been tuning in, this is my second winter here. I'm in my 50th season of life on planet Earth. And I've had the boats for a year. And I've been sailing. And now it's really is time like that stove. So thank you, Leonie, because your little comment contributes to more than you might think. Okay? Stimulates more than you might think. So this winter following through, it's really about like knuckling down, getting in, scrubbing up, all these things. Okay? Getting this little chappy, some big decisions to make too. Right? So I won't say them, but I will say this. I invite you to stay plugged in. You know, click the bell. Follow the shorts. If you're not interested in long form content, just click on my shorts, because that's a good way to get a sort of a day-to-day update. Hey, what's happening life on a wooden boat? Then a bit of a talking head video like this one, giving a broader update and what's happening, what's been happening, what's coming ahead, putting out some future projections. Okay. And then shout out to Graham asking a question about the beanie. Like, did it work? So just little things like that. I appreciate. It means people are paying attention, and someone out of all the busyness, okay, made a decision, made a choice to go, hang on, let me put a comment on this fella's channel or video or clip or short. So we go back to giving thanks and being really sincere about that, because of the big picture, how that contributes to the big picture. Someone, settle down, but it's just a comment. It is. But this here is part of a big picture. How many of us watch people on YouTube and think, how cool is it, or how cool will it be to live a lifestyle like that they do? And then you might go back to your normal. And then when you finish with your normal, you had enough with your normal, you tune into YouTube because there's a resistance, right? There's not necessarily a fear, but potentially afraid of having a go and not getting it right. I'm going to throw it out there and say it's more than failure. Failure is a silly word. It, right? It's a bit like mate. I think it's a silly word. It's a bit lazy, but it's part of culture, right? But that's not necessarily part of one's intelligence and ability to alter language. Come on, come on now. Be honest and truthful with yourself. But there is a resistance, and I know because I'm talking from my own personal experience. The amount of reluctancy and resistance that I've had in doing things like keep doing good things, contributing to the benefit, contributing to the potential of it working out because of being afraid of it not working out. Because of a narrative, right? Or what if it doesn't work out? I shared this with lovely, lovely friend I have up in the north of me, and I said, "Hey, what if you what if your what ifs?" Meaning, let's say I want to do something, and I say, "Oh, what if it doesn't work out the way I want it?" And the little positive voice says, "Well, what if it does work out the way you want it?" So it's the classic two wolves, right? The white wolf, the black wolf. And having the ability, which we all do, because if we can think in a negative way, we can think in a positive way. If we can focus on the problem, we can focus on the solution. It really is turn left, turn right. The map is there. We see the destination. We're given the coordinates. We have enough information to go. That is potentially the best way to go. What is going to happen in between, I do not know 100%. I do know if these certain circumstances do occur, here is my alteration, here is the variation, so be it. And off I go. I was about to slip it out then, but I won't. But there's another trek coming, right? There's another trek because when life on a boat, especially life on a wooden boat, there's the upkeep, right? There's the maintenance. And this old Jappy here, right, I'm starting to see all the bits of wear and tear and the bits of fill-ins, right, over the seasons. All the skippers and captains before me because of all this moisture, all this rain, all this swell coming through. And with in my learning process of being a captain of a 30-foot wooden boat, it's got a bit of weight. I made a few bumps along the way, okay? And then hip tying, this is called hip tying. Let's put you up there. Just, I'm going to lift you up for a little bit. Well, watch me hands. Uh, yeah, you're right. He sure does need a paint. We'll put that on the to-do list, shall we? So this is hip tying. And so over the course of 4 seasons, winter to winter, I've had to learn on the go Learning by doing. Shout out to that channel. All these little increments on how to hip tie a boat that can handle the weather conditions that we just had. So the boats are bumping in, and that's putting a bit of stress on sitting pelican. However, in saying that, it's not much more than what may occur if you're tied up at a jetty or tied up at a marina. Even on a floating dock, there's still going to be stress. So I reckon we're doing all right. I reckon we're doing all right, folks. And a shout out to those who are living on a boat in Western Tassie, because I know that you cop far greater than I do. And to any of you up there in the Bass Strait region, whether you're on the north coast of Tassie, the southeast corner of Victoria, like you chaps, you copped it too. Up in the Gibson Lakes, I reckon around French Island, although it is pretty protective in there. Around the prom, Wilson's Promenade. Port Phillip Bay would have got some swell in there for sure. For sure, for sure, for sure. So nothing happens without a contribution, right? Without the doing. And so obviously, the more I do towards achieving the outcome, naturally the outcome will occur quicker. It's just simple maths. So that's the update. That's the little life on a wooden boat update, right? Oh, captain's log, in a way. I'm going to try that approach with a voiceover. Food for thought. We have this type of weather for potentially 4 days, which will be really good. Really good. I need to get back up there again. That left the port side spreader. That needs drilling out. Hang on, excuse me. And re-riveting. It's quite a task. Now I have an idea to temporarily, 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 temporarily. Sometimes you've got to say words with an accent, right? So temporarily, old chappy, I have a solution. Because for any boaties and sailors out there, spreader bars, and the mounts are a very tricky part to source. And this boat, because even though this was a production boat, it was it was a small private business. So the only information I really ever got on this boat, Whistling Duck, which is a snook 22. It's through the obituary of Michael Lewis Snook that that's the only real information I had about this boat. And then there was another boat which they cut and made 26 foot, extended the keel, and I think sailed it across the Pacific. So that's pretty cool, right? That's the only real information I had on this. So these spars, right? You can't just go, oh, I need spreader bars for a Snook 22. It just doesn't exist like that. So that's a little bit frustrating. However, the good thing about this type of lifestyle is it does, you could say, force, or let's use the word, it encourages you to be innovative. But because you're out on the water, and I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people who have cut corners and done some great things, and I can see when I got this boat, and as I'm looking more and more into it, with more details, there's a lot of corners that are being cut. But the good thing about that, as I've mentioned before, when you see where corners have been cut, it gives you an idea on how you could do things better. So the mistake has already been made ahead of time, which is something to be grateful for. So I have an idea. I have an idea, folks. And it may be sacrilege. It may be sacrilege to the boating world. But it's a solution. It's a right. Even though it's temporarily solution. It's a solution nonetheless. And you could pass that over into your own life. I mean, whatever solution that you have at hand, be it in accordance to some degree the laws of man and the laws of the land, right? Let's not be silly and be silly with what I'm saying here. But it's a classic. Shout out to Simon, Mr. Simon Rock. That'll do. It'll do for the now, right? If it'll do for now, then just leave it be. Make the improvement later down the track because it's a solution for now, right? It's a solution for now. Well, coffee's empty. Time to make another one, and then time to get in. We're setting this camera up. Throw in some music, and we're going to do. I guess I'll have to do it as a time lapse, unless you let me know. Well, don't let me know. You'll let me. I'll find out anyway, right? I'll find out anyway. People make comments. I get likes. I get new subscribers, which I'm getting, which is amazing. So let's go. Let's go for the 50. Let's see how quick I get to 50, and then let's see how quick I go from 50 to 100, and then let's see how long it takes to go from 100 to 500. That'll be interesting. That'll be really interesting. And if you want me to shout out your name, right, just just come back into a video and say how I just subscribed. I just subscribe, because that'll leave your handle, right, or your viewer tag. And so at the end of the week, I'll compile all of those who have subscribed, because sometimes when I click on who subscribed to say thank you, you don't come up. So the only way I can know who actually subscribed is you need to come back into the comments and then tell me, hey, I just subscribed, and then I can give you a shout out. But if you don't want me to shout out, that's okay, because maybe you have loyalties to other YouTube channels, and it's like secret squirrel stuff. You don't want them to know that you're subscribing to another channel. How do you do it? I know. Mum's the word, Scout's honour. I could never do that, right? Because these two fingers move together. So maybe I am an alien. Nanu, nanu. Thanks for tuning in. Be good, be great. Just keep doing good things. This is a reminder to me as well. It's not just a fancy outro or feel good outro. Be good, be great, and keep doing good things. That's a reminder to me, because it's a reflection, it's an echo, right? It's it's a source. I always must keep reminding myself that I am the source of all of that I experience, because it is. I am of the belief it is a physical manifestation of the equivalence of what I put out in my thinking, in my speaking, in my doing. And that the echoes return to me, yeah, in their physical equivalence, for me to witness, to observe, and to experience, and to learn from. Yeah, I reckon that's a pretty good way to end this video. So thank you once again. Thank you to all the likes, the comments, the new subscribers, the bell clickers, because you must be clicking the bell, because the amount of attention that I'm getting after I've loaded up is sort of leaning towards, I think people are clicking the bell. So you're making me part of your life, and I really do appreciate that.